Wes, good to see you. A really important one today. We're going to talk about defining your risk tolerance and expectations for returns. The relationship between risk and return is fundamental when it comes to investing. Generally, higher returns come with higher risk, and lower risk typically means lower potential returns. To start, can you explain what risk tolerance is and why it is so important for investors?
Well, in a nutshell, risk tolerance is an investor's ability to experience market losses and what their reaction is going to be. Investing is a very emotional thing, so it's important that we understand what our tolerance and our appetite for risk is, because that's where the foundation is built around your money, and being in line with what your goals are. So it's an important thing to know.
Yeah, so that we're not making silly decisions with our money. So, how does somebody go about defining their risk tolerance?
Well, in its simplest form, the answer would be it starts with a risk questionnaire. I think this is a good starting point. It's a great conversation piece, but a risk tolerance questionnaire, for example, it could be something that scores where you sit in a spectrum of risk. So, someone who's answering questions, it could be scored that's closer to zero, you're going to be more conservative. If it's closer to 100, well, that's going to be a really aggressive portfolio. So you would expect a lot more volatility if you're more aggressive, but also higher rates of return. So again, it's a good starting point. It's something that can kind of be a good gut check. But I think there has to be additional questions and conversation around that before it's firmly established what the right choice for you is.
Right, that makes sense. Can an investor's risk tolerance change over time? And should changes in the market affect our risk tolerance?
That's an interesting question, and it's something that can change over time, because our time horizon changes, and that's a big component to what
Right,
risk tolerance is, right?
right.
And so as we age, as we get closer to retirement, it's important to recognize we don't have that time horizon to make up market losses like you did when you were, say, in your 20s, 30s, or even early 40s, right? But just because the market is doing what the market does, which is it goes up, it goes down, it goes sideways, and there's always a news headline around why it's doing that, and it could be the end of the world this time, right? But we shouldn't let market movements shift our risk tolerance. That's really more a question of what is your capacity for risk with your money.
So, then what is the role of working with an advisor, and how does an accurate risk tolerance define both an investor and an advisor's expectations?
Working with an advisor can be a big benefit around this conversation because it's more than just the risk tolerance questionnaire to help you establish that. It comes through deeper conversation, how you value money, how you look at money, maybe the questions like what mistakes you've made in the past, what are you most proud of, and trying to gauge what your psychological and behavioral tendencies are around money, because if you establish a risk tolerance but can't stay committed to the strategy that aligns with that, then it's not doing you any good, right?
Right.
And it should be something that is really locked in with your plan, and having a conversation with an advisor who helps you establish your risk tolerance as well as your capacity for risk, and that can be really beneficial for your long-term plan.
Absolutely. Yeah. And those questionnaires can be incredibly helpful because we all feel like, well, I'm okay with risk because it means more money, but that doesn't mean you're sleeping well at night. So, Wes, if somebody would like to get that personalized conversation and score with you, how can they reach you?
They can shoot us a message to info@patriotwealthnc.com, or old school, pick up the phone, 919-322-4113.
Great. Wes, thank you.
Thank you.